Yeah, it was only a matter of time. Last time on the Manchester United clown saga. After sacking Erik ten Hag at the end of October, Manchester United quickly rushed to appoint Ruben Amorim from Sporting CP. Amorim was an up-and-coming tactical mind, so many United fans had high hopes for the future. Unfortunately, like every year, the dreams of millions around the world were crushed week in, week out. As Man United not only finished a horrid 15th in the league, they also failed to qualify for a single European competition for the first time since 2014. But even then, like a toxic ex, hope came crawling back for Amorim's first full season at the club.
Today, after this disaster season, I want to tell you the good days are coming.
After falling out with Marcus Rashford and Alejandro Garnacho, Amorim basically told the two to go fuck themselves. Rashford was sent on loan again, this time to Barcelona, while Garnacho was permanently exiled to Chelsea for 46.2 million. A little more justifiable, Amorim would say the same thing to two Ten Hag signings, Højlund and Antony. In particular, Lord Bentner's cheap copy left for 22 million to Betis. He costed United 95 million. A few other exports include Jadon Sancho on loan to Villa, Victor Lindelof to Villa for free, and Hamas. Now for the new age to commence. Manchester United's attack last season had less bite than a fruit fly. In fact, they had the 5th least amount of goals in the whole league. Something had to change, and United acted quickly with a complete overhaul of the front three. Forward Mateus Cunha scored 15 times last year for Wolves, which prompted United to spend 74 million for his services. The Red Devils then spent another 75 million to bring in Bryan Mbeumo, who scored 20 times for Brentford. Finally, Manchester United brought in the deadly Slovenian silver bullet Benjamin Šeško. The 22-year-old is one of the most exciting up-and-coming strikers in the modern era. And just like that, Manchester United had its own big three. Things are about to get real scary. Premier League, I hope you're ready.
And that's awkward and it's in.
The good days are coming.
The new Big Three failed to make much of an impact in their following game, but with their next fixture being versus Grimsby Town in the FA Cup, it was time to eat.
The good days are coming.
Just 22 minutes in, Amorim's men once more impressed the world for all the wrong reasons by giving up an early goal versus a team in the 4th division of English football. And just when you thought you've seen the worst of it all, Andre Onana decides tonight he's Superman, but instead of kryptonite being his weakness, it was hand-eye coordination. But fortunately, Manchester United's high-end talent was able to bail themselves out late on, with Harry Maguire scoring an equalizer to send this to penalties. Here though, Onana just kept diving the same direction on almost every single attempt, pretty much guaranteeing a goal for Grimsby. As a result of this and 75 million man Bryan Mbeumo missing on the 13th attempt, Manchester United were officially eliminated from the FA Cup by 4th division side Grimsby Town, while Ruben Amorim was heckled with chants of "You're getting sacked in the morning" by fans of 4th division side Grimsby Town. Quick, Jim! We must fire 8,000 more employees!
I want to tell you, I'm coming.
Alright. Quick one before we keep going. I am teaming up with Icons vs Creators, a massive football event happening on March 7th in San Diego. What is Icons vs Creators, you may ask? Well, this is world-class, World Cup proven legends going head to head with top football pro creators, and the roster is stacked. The night also starts with 2 community teams from San Diego itself, and those teams are being voted in by the community. If you follow the event, you can actually vote for your club or local team to earn a spot and play before the main match. By following, you'll also have a chance to win tickets, merch, and even meet the legends themselves. I've also got my own official jersey for the event, and a promo code for it that directly supports my channel. So you can rep your favorite player. Me. If you've ever felt like US soccer has been missing that bridge between the culture, creators, and the legends we all grew up watching, this tournament is for you. So grab my jersey using my code displayed here and come experience America's first ever Icons vs Creators match. Amorim's men managed to bounce back from that historic disaster class with a win versus Burnley over the weekend, albeit they needed the last minute penalty to do it, but just let them have this one. Because in the following week, United were made to look like they've never played this sport before by their rivals Man City. And with that loss, Ruben Amorim now had the worst win percentage of any United manager since the Second World War.
The good days are coming.
Now, apparently Brexit Jim visited Amorim for a little talk after this, and when the media asked what was discussed, the manager joked about getting a new contract.
What you spoke about with him, New contract. Was offering me a new contract.
But shit, you know, maybe he was onto something, because in their next game, Amorim's men pulled off an impressive upset versus the Club World Cup winners Chelsea at home, albeit the opposing keeper was sent off within the first 5 minutes for this challenge. That said, it was a really impressive result and also a nice bit of morale to take forward. Instead though, we got the same old United vs Brentford, as the Red Devils had yet another disastrous start to a game, going 2-0 down by the 20th minute. However, in came the high-end talent to save the day. Benjamin Šeško finally gets his first goal for the club just 5 minutes later, and then in the 70th minute, Brian Mbeumo drew a penalty which Bruno would put away.
Disasters are coming.
With United's third loss out of the 4 meetups they've had in Brentford in the last 4 years, Amorim's men were now sitting 14th in the league. Fun fact, the Portuguese manager took over the club last year when they were sitting 14th. In October though, things actually started to turn around for the Red Devils. They took care of an overachieving Sunderland side with Benjamin Šeško scoring for a second consecutive time. United's Harry Maguire then came up with more heroics to get the better of a team that has constantly tormented them throughout this banter era. Not only that, he helped United win a second straight Premier League game for the first time since May of 2024. But it was about to get even better, as United would then beat Brighton to make it 3 straight. This hasn't been seen since February of 2024. And I'm sure you've heard about this guy who has promised not to cut his hair until United wins 5 straight league games. But with the team's next 2 games being a shambolic Forest side and Spurs, this could be the moment. Against Spurs, United took the lead early on, but choked it away, and then gave away the winner in the first minute of stoppage time. Thankfully for Amorim's men though, the football gods do not allow Richarlison happiness, and United snatch a point at the death. The Red Devils would not be so fortunate the following week, however, as they lost to Everton 1-0 despite having 23 shots and 70% of the possession. But again, Amorim's men would find a way to climb out of the grave and go their next 4 games unbeaten. That all said, one was a win versus a team with 0 of them, and another was a draw with the representation of what West Ham would have looked like if Nathan Shelley was actually real. Either way though, the run came to an end after a loss to a Villa side on a 6-game win streak. Again though, United did well not to spiral deeper into madness and bounced back versus a team that had brutalized them all last season. But even then, Amorim's men were still finding ways to disappoint spectacularly, as they followed that positive with a 1-1 draw at home versus the team still yet to win a game. Then in the following week, the high-end talent had to come to the rescue once more to save United a point versus a newly promoted Leeds United. And that result must have really frustrated Ruben Amorim, because in the press conference afterward, he kinda went off the rails a bit.
I just want to say that I'm going to be the manager of this team, not just the coach. And I was really clear on that. And that is going to finish in 18 months. And then everyone is going to move on. That was the deal. That is my job, not to be a coach. If people cannot handle the Gary Nevilles and the criticisms of everything, we need to change the club. No, guys, I just want to say that I came here to be the manager of Manchester United, not to be the coach. And every department, the scouting department, the sport director needs to do their job. I will do mine for 18 months and then we move on.
With all the reports of tension between Amorim and the board regarding his stubbornness and his tactics, this was very much a jab at those people. And they didn't like that one bit. Not even 24 hours after that outburst, Ruben Amorim was officially sacked as coach, manager, I don't know. The sacking was very much overdue. From day one, Amorim was so adamant on playing one style and only that style. Of course, there's been more improvement seeing how United were 6th before he was sacked, but again, because of his stubbornness, the team was seeing the same problems over and over again every single week. But at the end of the day, this all falls on the clown show we call Manchester United. Because Amorim's stubbornness isn't something that just caught United by surprise. They knew since the end of the 23-24 season. In fact, it was one of the reasons why they didn't end up choosing him initially. But then, they rushed him in midway through the 24-25 season, probably because of all the hype that was building up around him, because this club doesn't have an actual fucking strategy. What, did you think the face-eating tiger was just gonna all of a sudden stop its ways? I'm almost certain United knew very quickly how impulsive this decision was, and how quickly they were going to regret it, because they were just constantly trying to save face throughout this entire period. Case in point, when tensions were growing since August, Brexit Jim, 2 months after the Grimsby incident, decided to weirdly hint at giving Amorim 3 years. Jim himself, by the way, behind the scenes, was wanting Amorim to change his lineup to a back four. Again, the guy should have been sacked way earlier, but I think the board waited for the inevitable crash out. That way the attention wasn't entirely on United wasting even more money. Because since Ineos's takeover, not only 2 years ago, Brexit Jim hired a new sporting director in July 2024 and sacked him 5 months later, costing the club $3 million. In October 2024, he sacked Erik ten Hag, which costed the club $12 million and whatever else Erik ten Hag spent. He then paid $10 million to rush Amorim in, spent $250 million in transfers, and then sacked him, which will probably cost an extra $10 to $20 million. And keep in mind, this is the same genius who keeps telling us that United is losing money and that it needs to cut costs by firing 8 trillion employees and making sure that the janitors only eat rocks and stones and sand. So here's the question everyone's gonna want to ask themselves. What's next for United? Really, we should be asking the question, what's next for this soulless corporation? Because this isn't a club anymore, okay? Like, there's more soul in this black TV than there is in all of Manchester United right now. Let's start with the basics at least. U18's coach Darren Fletcher will take charge for now, and there's been rumors of a return for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as the caretaker manager. Okay, well, what about the further future? What's going to help Manchester United finally rise from its ruins? Lately, the discussion has been around bringing in people with that United DNA, with the United way. Darren Fletcher in particular seems to think it's showing the youth random clips of Ronaldo and Rooney. I'ma hold your hand when I say this, Darren. The youth probably think you're a fucking moron. Me when I show the U17 Scranton School of the Blind clips of Messi, and they all miraculously turn into him. When talking about United's DNA, I feel like a lot of these pundits just kind of throw that out there and don't elaborate because, I mean, that's punditry for you at this point. But let's at least entertain this for a second. When people talk about the United DNA or the United way, they're usually talking about the glory days. But it wasn't what was on the pitch that made the culture so special, it was the environment that made every single person who worked for the club excited to come in every morning. That DNA was left to die a long time ago, and Jim Ratcliffe is only making sure it stays that way, because he's made the work culture at United absolutely miserable. All in the name of cost cutting, people are in constant fear of their job security, free tickets to cup finals are no longer covered, hell, Brexit Jim's alter ego is probably the Grinch. But not even United's best and most loyal player Bruno Fernandes is immune to this bullshit. He recently came out and said that the club's higher-ups expressed an interest in selling him last summer, despite him not wanting to leave. This is what United's DNA is now. It's not exactly like it was lost or that it has to be brought in, it's the fact that it is transformed into this extremely toxic culture. And no matter what player they sign, what manager they decide to go with, until this culture revolving around the players and staff goes away, this cycle is only going to continue. But what do you guys think about this whole situation? Will there actually be a change with someone that is different from Amorim, or will things be the same? Oh, hold on, I just got news. We have a new manager for Manchester United. Welcome to the club, Mr. Chu Ding-yim. Of course, though, a massive shout out to all our members, including Janos Balos, German Sayo 7, Jeremiah Owusu Ajamang, Django, Anazir Makalankam, Alex Rod, Kentra Gatra, Saint Terrence, Sylvia Citrus, Cheesebait, Winter Gel, Finn Likes Rugby More, Davox, The Portergeyser, Wise Orange, Polar Protos, Von Fen, A Ghostly Owl, Coney Wolves, Lickstab, Matanai, Apollo, Thurling ADT13, Los Milos, LeJames Braun, Vasinho, Napside, Money Cash Hose, Quantavious Pork, Lilia Lover, Student Monk, Red Yellow, Fuxi, MXN, Harry Maguire's Left Toenail, Flaquito, Thierry's Thoughts, Kev C, Dominic Griffin, Kyler Krebs, Mohammed Al-Tanib, Nish, Patrick Barley, Rashford God 5, Raspberry Ale, and Unbroken Persona. If you'd like to become a member on the channel, there'll be a link down below and up in the annotations. You can follow my Twitter if you want, follow my Instagram if you like, follow my Twitch. It's there. We'll be doing more watch-alongs once the Champions League comes. Don't worry. But until then, I'll see you guys.
coming.